Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Before we get into this, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on the notification bell, and drop a like on this video. Because what you're about to hear is the kind of story that reminds you why we love Kim Taehyung so much. And if this video moves you the way it moved me, share it with every single ARMY you know. Okay. Let's go. Imagine flying from South Korea to Florida. Or from Brazil. Or from the Philippines. Crossing entire oceans, taking multiple connecting flights, spending thousands of dollars on plane tickets, hotels, and concert merch, all for one man. One stage. One night under the Florida sky. That's exactly what happened in Tampa, Florida on April 25, 2026, when BTS officially kicked off the North American leg of their Taehyung World Tour at Raymond James Stadium. And in the middle of all of it, shining the brightest, was Kim Taehyung, RV. But here's the thing that nobody is fully talking about yet. The part that will genuinely make your jaw drop. Stay with me, because I'm going to walk you through every single detail of what went down, the fan campaigns that cost thousands, the city that turned purple for him, the billboard that greeted him straight from the airport, and that one moment on stage that 60,000 people will never forget for the rest of their lives. We're not skipping a single thing. So don't go anywhere. Let me take you back to the beginning. After years of waiting, for long, aching, beautiful years, BTS completed their mandatory military service. Every single member. And when June 2025 came around and Suga was the last one to be discharged, ARMY collectively lost their minds. Because it meant one thing, they were coming back. All 7 of them. Together. And they didn't just come back quietly. They dropped their 10th studio album, Taehyung, on March 20, 2026, and it debuted straight at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Their hit single, Swim, went all the way to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And then they announced the biggest world tour of their entire career, 85 dates, 34 cities, 23 countries, spanning all the way through 2027. The Taehyung World Tour. The largest tour in BTS history. And every ticket across South Korea, North America, and Europe sold out within hours of going on sale. Hours. Not days. Hours. Now here's where I want you to really pay attention, because this is where the story of the fans begins. And it is incredible. When the Tampa dates were announced, April 25th, 26th, and 28th at Raymond James Stadium, something extraordinary started happening among the global ARMY community. Fans from every corner of the world started making plans. Booking flights. Saving up. Sacrificing. Because BTS had not performed in the United States as a full group since April 2022. That's 4 years of silence on American soil. 4 years of waiting. And for Taehyung fans specifically, those 4 years felt like a different kind of longing, because this was a man who had grown so much. Who had served his country, released his solo work, explored acting, and come back as someone even more layered, even more magnetic than before. So when the Taehyung Tuesday fan club, V's dedicated US fan base, and the global organization called V Union announced their support campaign for Tampa, the response was overwhelming. These fans didn't just show up. They showed out. They funded and erected large video billboard advertisements along the route between Tampa International Airport and Raymond James Stadium. Think about that for a second. Billboard ads. Video ads. Running every single minute. So that when Taehyung's car rolled through Tampa, the first thing he would see, the very first thing, were messages from fans telling him they love him, they're proud of him, they're here for him. Those billboards ran for a full week, from April 24th all the way through April 30th, reaching not just the 180,000 fans attending the concerts, but the local Tampa residents too. Everyone in that city knew Taehyung was coming. And they didn't stop there. Because Taehyung Tuesday had another gift ready. Custom-designed pin buttons featuring iconic Tampa landmarks, the University of Tampa, the Ferris wheel at the waterfront, flamingos, all lovingly crafted and hand-distributed to fans as they arrived at the venue. Little pieces of Tampa, given as a love letter to the people who crossed the world to be there. You might be wondering how much all of this costs. Billboard campaigns in a major US city for a full week? Design merchandise? Coordination across time zones and fan clubs in multiple countries? We're talking thousands. Tens of thousands of dollars. Raised entirely by regular people, fans, who pooled their money together because they wanted Taehyung to feel seen. To feel loved. On American soil. After everything. And it wasn't just the fan club spending. Individual armies were going all in. Resale tickets for the Tampa shows were listed on platforms like StubHub ranging from $86 all the way past $620 per person, depending on the seat. Some floor-level tickets went even higher than that. And people paid it. Without hesitation. Because this wasn't just a concert. This was a reunion. This was history. The city of Tampa itself understood the magnitude of what was happening. Mayor Jane Castor ordered the iconic landmarks of the city, Old City Hall, the major downtown bridges, to glow purple. BTS purple. The color of ARMY. And Tampa International Airport greeted every arriving fan with digital welcome displays across all its terminals. The entire city had essentially become a BTS experience. Not because they were told to, but because the economic and cultural weight of this event was undeniable. According to local reports, the 3 Tampa concerts alone were projected to generate between $800 million and $900 million in economic impact for the region. Let that sink in. 1 band. 3 nights. Nearly $1 billion. But you know what? None of that, not the billboards, not the purple bridges, not the $500 million economy, none of it compares to what happened inside Raymond James Stadium when the lights went down. And this is the part I've been building toward. Because this is why fans spent thousands. This is what they crossed oceans for. This is the moment. The show opened with Hooligan and Aliens from the Arirang album, and from the very first note, 60,000 people were already crying. Already screaming. Already feeling things they had been holding inside for 4 years. The stage itself was unlike anything BTS had ever performed on before, a full 360-degree in the round setup, meaning no matter where you were sitting, you had a perfect view. No bad seats. No blocked sight lines. Just you and 7 men who love what they do standing at the center of it all. The setlist moved through 23 songs, from explosive performances of Fake Love, Mic Drop, Idol, and Fire, to the emotional gut punch of Merry Go Round, to the euphoric finale of Butter, Dynamite, and Permission to Dance, which was making its world tour debut that very night. And then, for the encore, they played Magic Shop. A song that had never been performed on the previous tour stops. A song that means something deeply personal to ARMY. A surprise. A gift. And when those first notes of Magic Shop rang out across Raymond James Stadium, people absolutely lost it. Fans who had been holding themselves together all night just completely broke down. But I have to talk about Taehyung specifically. Because V was, as he always is, in a league entirely his own that night. This is a man who just weeks earlier had shown the world his acting side again in the cinematic short film, That Night, Our Decoff, for Compose Coffee, released on April 10, 2026. A man who had spent 4 years in military service, growing in silence and depth, coming back quieter and somehow louder at the same time. And when he stood on that stage in Tampa, his deep voice filling the stadium, his presence somehow managing to feel both massive and intimate, the fans who had spent their savings to be there understood immediately that it was worth it. Every dollar. Every mile. Every moment of waiting. There is a fan cam recording of the ending meant, the closing speech, from day one of Tampa, where Taehyung and RM stand together and address the crowd. And even through a phone screen, even through compressed video quality, you can feel the weight of that moment. The emotion in his voice. The way he looked out at 60,000 people holding army bombs in the Florida night, bathing the entire stadium in waves of pulsing purple light. That image, Taehyung standing in a sea of purple, looking at the people who never stopped waiting, is one of those images that you never forget. And fans who were there in person, they will carry that with them forever. Here's something that makes all of this even more beautiful. Earlier that same year, while Taehyung's US fans were planning their Tampa campaign, Taehyung Tuesday had already done something remarkable in New York. They funded and dedicated an adult bench in Central Park, making a $20,000 tax-deductible donation to the Central Park Conservancy, which had a personalized plaque installed on a bench in his name. In the heart of New York City. A permanent piece of love for Kim Taehyung. And the Tampa campaign was just the latest chapter in that story of devotion. By the end of the 3 Tampa shows, approximately 180,000 fans had passed through the gates of Raymond James Stadium. They came from South Korea, from Japan, from Brazil, from Australia, from Indonesia, from France, from everywhere. Hotels were completely booked. The city was packed. People were wearing BTS merch that had largely sold out on official platforms like Weverse and Target. The Army Bomb lightstick was gone almost immediately, with resale prices skyrocketing. Local businesses, restaurants, cafes, souvenir shops, all reported being overwhelmed with foot traffic. Tampa had never seen anything quite like it. And what did they all come for, really? Yes, they came for BTS. Yes, they came for the music and the lights and the spectacle of one of the greatest live acts on the planet. But more than anything, if you ask any ARMY who was in that stadium, they came for those moments of genuine connection. They came for the times when Taehyung looked into the crowd and smiled that slow, deep smile of his. They came for the moment when he sang and his voice vibrated through the air in a way that made you feel held. They came for proof that something they had believed in, through absences and waiting and military service and uncertainty, was still there. Still real. Still everything they remembered and more. That's what thousands of dollars buys when you spend it on seeing Kim Taehyung live. Not just a ticket. Not just a seat. But a memory you carry in your chest for the rest of your life. A moment that quietly says, it was worth it. All of it. The Arirang World Tour is still going strong. After Tampa, BTS heads to El Paso, then Mexico City, then Stanford, then Las Vegas, then across to Europe and beyond, with the tour running all the way through 2027. More stadiums. More cities. More fans spending their savings and booking their flights and making those once-in-a-lifetime decisions. And at every single stop, somewhere in that wave of purple light, there will be a person who saved up for months. Who flew alone, maybe for the first time. Who stood in that crowd and thought, I can't believe I made it. I can't believe he's real. I can't believe this is happening. That person is every single one of us. And Kim Taehyung, standing on that 360-degree stage, glowing under the lights of Raymond James Stadium, makes all of it make sense. If this video gave you chills, if it made you remember why you fell in love with V in the first place, please hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Join this family, hit subscribe, and make sure notifications are on so you never miss an update. Drop a comment down below and tell me, if you could fly anywhere in the world to see Taehyung live, where would it be? I want to read every single one. And share this video with your fellow ARMYs, because stories like this deserve to be heard by everyone who loves him. Until next time, Purple you, always. Purple Heart Annyeong.